Hola, this is Blank Canvas, a podcast that I decided to do as a midlife crisis, I'll say. Now, this is a space that I wanted to create to bring over some friends, talk about the art industry, and then we're going to run through today's topic, which is apprenticeships. Today with me in this first episode is Tonia. Little clap.
That's me.
I can never pronounce your surname, babe.
Neither can I sometimes.
Is it Italian?
It's Italian, yeah.
Okay.
It's Miragliotta.
Oh, it sounds like a nice pasta dish. We'll put your little details of your social medias so people can check your work. Amazing work. Tell us a little bit about you. I know I have known you since we were talking about 2 years, probably.
Yeah, probably.
We
2
worked
years.
together.
Well, I've been within the industry for about 4 years. Been tattooing for about 3.
Yeah.
What was the rest of your question?
4 years. 4 years in tattooing for 3. 4
Yeah.
years for how long have you done your
the
apprenticeship and
apprenticeship.
then as a full-time artist?
Yeah, the apprenticeship for me, I did my non-tattooing apprenticeship, I
What's
guess you
that?
could call it. It's kind of just when like you're building up your skills before you even put needle to skin.
Oh, so you're talking like when you go and help in the
Yeah,
studio,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Oh, I didn't know you have a name for it.
Oh, I
Okay.
don't really know what you call it.
Yeah,
I don't
slave.
know, slave labor.
Free slave labor.
You gotta earn your stripes before you even get to touch skin.
I know. Oh, yeah, we'll be there. It's all right.
Yeah, I did that for about 9 months. So like
9
the first
months.
8 months I was helping out all the other artists, setting up, packing down, looking after the studio, but then also taking care of my own art styles. So
Yeah.
we were encouraged to try out heaps of different styles. I was more into the realism. So that's a lot of portraits or anything that is like kind of realistic or photorealistic. So yeah, I did that for about 9 months. And then on your 9th month, you do like a week of free tattoos. So we do like a bunch of small ones on
Or like basic
volunteers.
stuff.
Yeah, like really baby ones.
Yeah.
Mostly on like friends and family. And we have to look at it every day.
Yeah, those are like the free of charge.
Yeah.
That is. The guinea
But
pigs.
it'll help you get the hang of it. And then after that, I worked my skills up for a year and 4 months, and then I was qualified. Yeah.
Okay, what did it get you into tattooing? What were you doing before that?
I was doing lots of things.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I would have lasted at a tattoo place if I hadn't done everything else.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did a lot of different hospitality jobs.
Yeah.
A lot of admin, a bit of retail. So I was working 3 jobs at one point, and I was working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a stranger to working really hard. And it was during that time, I think it was about a year of working for 7 days. So I'd go from cafe to cafe during the week, and then on the weekends I'd work at a bar.
Yeah. I guess you're going to have to do that when you're doing the 9 months with no payment.
This was before then.
Oh, even before that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I wasn't even sure what I wanted to do then, hence why I was working so much. I just wanted to save money.
Yeah.
But yeah, that made me stop drawing for like 4 or 5 years. And then COVID happened,
Yeah.
and I was like, fuck this shit. I don't want to fucking do this
COVID
anymore.
sucks for everyone, I know.
So I made my portfolio during COVID,
Yeah.
and then I did my little trial
Yeah.
at Addicted to Ink.
Was it the first trial, the first studio you got it straight away? Because you did it in there.
Well, it was a bit of a funny time because obviously, like, if COVID wasn't happening, you'd have your little interview and then you'd come and work for 2 weeks as a trial.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But because COVID just kept going on, there was this little group chat we had with, like, the owners, sorry,
It's all right.
and the other people who were going to be on trial. So we all, like, worked up a little morale and kept up with like actually drawing and sending it back and forth to each other, just to like keep us motivated for when he got back.
That's good.
Yeah.
Talking about COVID, like I actually started kind of like just right before COVID, my apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Mine was kind of different. Like I was never like it was never in my plans to be a tattoo artist in my life.
Me
ever.
neither.
Like I loved art. I probably we all did to a point. I did a lot of painting when I was a kid, and I would do like paintings for my uncle and get paid and have a little bit extra money. Then I went to uni. I did my administration degree. Worked for a company for like accounting area. Hated it. Office work is not
Anything
mine.
to do with numbers?
Not just the numbers. I think it was the environment.
Office.
Like big company environment. You're just a number. And I hated it.
My last job before I got my
Yeah.
apprenticeship, I was at a golf club and I was just like reception.
Okay.
I was kind of like an all-rounder as well. So whenever like people in the bar needed help or back office needed help or the kitchen needed help,
Yeah. You have to go.
tugged in every direction because I had all that like previous hospitality as well. So like, we'll pay you this much, but you're going to do all of this.
How is it? Was it like a club? Golf club?
It was a golf club, yeah.
Yeah. How was it?
How
old were you?
I wouldn't do it again. I would have been 19 or 20 or 20.
Okay. Did they make you wear like a sexy little cuff?
No.
Costume say hello, welcome.
No.
Thank God.
Every now and
creepy
then.
old man.
Every now and then they'd let you, after hours, they'd let us go out on the driving range and just piff the golf balls as far as we could.
Okay.
That was probably the only good part.
That's good.
And occasionally, and like free coffee, obviously.
That's our random old jobs that we got like before, like having this
That's where
profession.
my addiction to coffee began.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was saying that like same as you before tattoo artist, I had like it got to a point that I have 4 jobs. So mornings I was doing a cafe. I was riding my bike, and then I would go to a restaurant, and then at night I would go to a bar. And they're all 3 things, they were different. So I was a barista in the cafe.
Yeah.
I was in the restaurant. I was no bartender. How to say? The girl that served the drinks and
Like a waitress?
Waitress, yeah. And then the last one, I was a bartender. So it was like a 3 personalities.
Yeah. So the one cafe that I worked at, or the time I had 3 jobs. So I worked as like a kitchen hand in this vegan little cafe.
Yeah.
It was like right across the road from where I lived. Mm-hmm. And then the other one was like a cafe where I was like waitressing.
Yeah.
Occasionally I'd be like a kitchen hand as well. But I'd also be on the sandwich bar. And then at the bar I was mainly the bartender, where I'd just be running around the floor as well.
Yeah, it's insane. You have to do all those things. At the same time, I back in the days I was like, oh, I'm capable to do all of this.
It's a very
Now,
high stress environment.
It is
All of the hospitality jobs. And I think if we didn't go through that at such a younger age, I wouldn't have had the kind of medal that I have now.
100%. Like, I agree with you. Like, everything you do in life is a learning lesson.
From all the people in hospitality.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and it helped. This is another question I'll go through later, but it kind of helped you through communication skills and customer service, which is so important as a tattoo artist. And I think that is not something that can
it's
be
hard
teach.
because a lot of artists are very introverted. And they like to keep to themselves, stay in their little dark corner and draw.
So common. And I've seen it like the apprenticeship when you go and do it in a studio or whatever you do it. As you mentioned, like for 9 months, you were just doing the cleaning, the setups, blah blah blah. You rarely have interaction with clients. Or did
I feel
you?
like it kind of changed a bit. I think when I did my apprenticeship, I made sure I made the effort to talk to people.
Okay.
Not only the artists, but to like ask about like their processes and what's going on with their clients, but I also be listening to how they interact with their clients.
True. But this is something very good that I realized from this studio, because we got like we did different apprenticeship in different areas, studios. Mine was very isolated.
What do you mean? Like in the
When I
middle
did
of
my apprenticeship?
nowhere, or like?
No, I think as well the size of the studio was smaller, and I found this artist where he titled me, and then we ended up talking, and then after like an hour to no, actually it was an appointment for like 4 hours. I told him like, hey, I used to draw, blah blah blah, and then he was like, show me, and I showed him the drawings and painting. He was like, oh well, you have a lot of basic skills and good skills, like good eye for art. Do you want to be an apprentice? And I was like, okay, and that's how it started. Literally. And then the next day I was like, okay, I work in 4 jobs. And he was like, well, we'll have to quit one.
So how often did you apprentice there?
So that's another thing. Like for me, times wasn't a thing. I was working in all these different jobs. Then I found him. He said, come do an apprenticeship. Back in that days, for me, it was more like a hobby. I was like, oh,
Hobby?
how cool. Yeah.
A hobby.
Excuse my accent. And then I didn't take it serious, really, with him. Like, I respect him, but at the first time, I was like, oh, how cool tattoo artist.
Yeah.
And I just went to the studio and I hang out with them. There were like just 4 artists in there. And then I remember just hanging out with him. COVID happened. I think I always like took a retrospective of my life and say, if COVID didn't happen, I probably wouldn't be an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I reckon so as well. I was thinking this like not too long ago.
I was so consumed in the other jobs.
Yeah.
So if I never had the free time.
I mean, one day I
You've
was
done it.
driving to work and
Yeah.
I was like in peak hour traffic, and I was driving all the way from like the eastern suburbs all the way out into like the Yarra Valley to go to this fucking golf club. Are we allowed to swear on
Babe, the
this?
golfers are following you.
And I was like, fuck this shit. I don't want to do this shit anymore. And then COVID happened that same week, and I was literally thinking like, what am I going to do next?
Yeah.
And then I saw that ad for that's this Addicted to Ink studio putting it out, and I was like, oh, like everyone has always mentioned that I should get into tattooing,
Yeah.
but I never considered it as like a proper career.
Same. And like, well, if you guys don't know, I'm Colombian. So coming from my background and coming from like, I got into the industry when I was just 25. So I was like, no way, I'm not going to leave of tattooing. Back home, tattooing it's not a career. It wasn't. Now it's changing for good. But when I got tattooed on my 18, I went to this studio. My dad took me. And then they were like, oh, when the hippies and drug addicts.
The
throw
hippies
me.
and the what?
Drug addicts.
Oh.
They were like, we're gonna put subtitles in this video. So it was more like someone that failed in life and has to be a tattoo artist, which is so wrong.
Yeah. Look, I've always loved art, and I did it since I was like 10 or 11
Same,
years old.
yeah.
Taught myself. But I never considered that I could
As a
use
profession.
that. Yeah.
I always consider it as a profession more to the side of like
Architecture and stuff.
which I have a technical
gonna
in
go down
architecture.
that avenue as well.
100%.
And then I realized you need to be good at maths for that.
babe, I did it for 2 years. I have
Yeah.
a technical architecture paper. It's a piece of paper. 2 years, and it was so formal, boring. Like
Yeah.
my teacher, like I would do the lines, the scales. If that was the line for a wall, if by mistake my pencil crossed over the little line, he will put it in red, and you have to do it again. And he was like, everything has to be perfect. Imagine if a wall is slightly down.
I mean, to
the
be
whole
fair, you still have
building-
to be perfect with tattooing, but
Yeah, but to a point, it's more like freedom. With architecture, it's like you got a fucking responsibility of like hanging a
each
whole
line will affect the other
building
line.
for a whole like
Yeah.
population, whatever.
Instead of just your creative.
Exactly.
Just
So I
taking
did it, and
control.
I was like, well, architecture is not for me. It's expensive too as
Yeah.
a career. And then the other option was like a design, interior design, or something like that. But tattooing artist like it was never. So when I got into this apprenticeship with him, COVID happened, and that's what I'm very grateful. Again, COVID sucks. It was a hard time, but because if that never happened in my life, I will probably never have a stop, like an
It
obligated
just hit
stop.
pause on everything, and you're able to properly think about what can I do next, because I don't have to worry about going to work tomorrow and just living that everyday life, whereas I can hit pause, have a moment, reconsider my options, especially like with all the job seeker that was coming out, and you didn't have to worry about making a living while trying to like instead of living to
you
work,
wake up,
you're
eat.
working to live.
To a point you couldn't even go out when you had the quarantine.
It really put everything into perspective for a lot of people.
A lot of overthinking, but a lot of introspective too. And when that happened, I remember actually COVID hits, and then they start to put all these rules of in Melbourne, you can't go out. You have like 3K area that you are allowed to go do exercise.
3Ks, I remember it being less.
Or something like that, 2K. I don't know, it was insane.
It got smaller and smaller.
And then the curfew. And I remember I keep the job, luckily, of like a barista in a cafe as a little takeaway. So they give like a little permission to actually jump into the trams and trains. You remember the public transport?
I wasn't allowed to go anywhere.
Yeah, well, I got it from
made
there.
redundant at that golf club, so I didn't even have to like fire myself. So
and I remember sneaking my way out because my apprentice, like my mentor, was living in. I was living in. Back in that time was like Footscray. My mentor was living in St Kilda, and I will sneak my way out in public transport and trains, go to his place. We will draw together, and he will teach me in his little apartment, and I will have to sneak my way out before curfew and come back. I did that for like months. Very illegal, but I have to. And
I broke a few rules, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah.
It was insane.
I mean, because we'd waited so long during COVID to start, and then we had that little green period.
Yeah.
And then it happened again. They tried to put us in lockdown again.
Yeah, it was insane.
It wasn't for as long, but I think like everyone was like, fuck it, let's just keep doing what we're doing.
It was insane. But yeah, that's how I got into it. And then COVID reopened, like finished, everything reopened, sorry. And then I got the job back again, and I was busy again. But my mentor, which I love him and respect him, learned so much from him. He's very, how can I say? He's a character, but he's very strict, and I respect that. And he would be like, he called me out and he said like, look, Ali, I think you're going to be a good artist, but I don't feel like you're taking this serious. And or you either in or you out.
I can't imagine you not taking it seriously.
Because that was my...
How old are you now?
I'm 30.
And you started when
26.
you were 20. I thought you said you started when you were 25.
Yeah, I've been 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when I was like, in that moment, he hates me because I was doing it like, I would go and then leave early. You know, I wasn't like, it didn't look like I was full in, which I respected. But back in that moment, I still come with this concept of like tattooing. You're not going to survive with tattooing. It was more a hobby.
It's strange because like this day and age, the industry's changed so much.
I know. We're going to talk about that.
I didn't think that I could make a career out of this.
100%.
Because like way back when, it was always walk-in. No one made appointments.
Yeah.
You just walk in, ask for something, and they draw it up and they do it for you.
Yeah, 100%. It's insane how everything had changed. But yeah, like, and then I ended up being an apprentice. I have to tell him like, no, I actually want to do it full time. I leave one of my jobs and I was in, and then, but again, I come back to what we're talking about, the mentorship and the process is like, I was with him and just with him. Like we have a reception person, blah, blah, blah. But
so you were very isolated just with him.
Yeah, I wasn't. His background, at the end, you probably will agree with me. As an apprenticeship, like as an apprentice, you kind of start to copy and behave as your mentor behave. Because you're the reflection a little bit of that person.
Yes and no.
No?
But did you find that with me?
No, like, I don't know. You have, how many mentors do you have?
I don't know.
2?
I mean,
probably.
It changed over the years.
Okay.
Like, they're all at the same studio, but I learned from everyone. But like, I mainly looked up to Brad, my main mentor. He took on that role the most.
the most, which I see him like the main one. But it kind of like, I don't know, like his way of teaching was like, you have to be here, and then you consume yourself to that person. And like if he was doing,
That's what I didn't like. I don't like the best part about the time during when I did my apprenticeship before everything's kind of changed a bit. I don't know, I'm not sure why, but they've changed things. But I was able to sit down with each and every artist each day I was there. Yeah. And I would ask so many questions as to why
which is amazing. That's how it should be.
Yeah, and I want to take what I can because just like when you're learning, even with your own art style, like everyone does things differently and you don't know what's going to work for you.
100%.
It's like some artists might push their lines, but it might feel so uncomfortable and shaky for you. But other artists will pull their lines.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and this is something he told me as well. Like he say like, this is how I do it, but not because I do it this way, it's the right way.
Yeah.
That's what he always told me. And I wasn't allowed to go around any tattoo machine. He'll make me see it and I'll be like, do lines and circles.
Yeah.
And I was like, fucking, this is boring.
On
like,
paper?
What? Yeah, on
With
a paper.
pencil?
He was like, you don't need an iPad yet.
Yeah.
You need to draw and you need to lose your hand, which I think is very good.
You can't let that technical pen do all the stabilizing for you.
Oh, I know. And then you just do an iPad and you want to erase and you're just like double taping. But yeah, I was like, okay. But yeah, it was like very isolated. I have to say with him, my period of apprenticeship was very short.
How
I think
long
it was
did
like,
you spend like drawing, practicing?
I guess because part of it I did it during COVID, sneaking my way out. So in the studio, I was an apprentice for like 4 to 5 months.
That's not too bad, but it's also, yeah.
But I feel like in
But,
comparison with you guys, it's a lot.
Well, yeah, I feel like the 8 to 9 months is a long time, but for me, I felt like it was a good amount of time. Like, as hard as it got, I feel like you need to be pushed to your fucking very limit.
Okay.
Because...
So did you agree? Did you agree with these times?
I feel like to be within this industry, you really have to harden up.
Okay.
Not in like a toxic masculinity kind of way, but you need to build resilience because there's going to be times where you might have to pull an all-nighter because you haven't done the work. And to have that resilience and still be able to get to work tomorrow and work through that day.
What do you agree with? What do you say with like hide it up? Like waking up early, going and set it up for everyone, cleaning.
It's kind of just like working from the bottom up. Like you've got to build your foundation.
So working your way out.
Yeah, build your... Like, I think because I came from that hospitality background, like, I had to, you know, in hospitality, you deal with a lot of fucking assholes, you know?
Yeah. Toxic.
And you know when to exit something that's not good for you. But
yeah.
the thing was, like, tattoo apprenticeships is no matter how bad you think it is, you're still learning. And it's going to be really hard when everyone's telling you and they're criticizing your art.
Yeah.
So building that kind of resilience. Like there's a lot of artists...
Yeah, it makes you tough.
They make you tough. They make you durable. Oops, I just spilled that.
That's all right.
I think that's something that a lot of people can't... And it's... maybe I'm not
agree and
explaining
disagree
it
on
right,
that.
but there's a lot of people who just, I don't think will last... in the industry if they can't take constructive criticism and stuff when it comes to art.
I agree and disagree with that because, and that's what I always say even to some of your mentors as well, like I'll have to call them off for the way they treat people.
Yeah.
Or the way sometimes they talk to them.
Oh, like old school artists, yeah.
Yeah, which
I see, like,
nothing personal.
I can see what you mean, yeah.
Nothing personal.
I agree with that.
And I came to the point to know the people and to know the person, and I know they come from like a good heart and a good they come from like a good place.
There's bad eggs in every industry.
But it's bad communication skills. It's probably the main thing.
Well, it's not a very there's no HR for tattooists.
No, we don't.
There's literally no
Yeah.
HR for tattooists, and like
Which is insane.
It's one of the biggest things you have to worry about getting into an apprenticeship, because you don't want to be stuck under some fucking asshole.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And you kind of enter it sometimes, I think everyone into a point, enter the studio being an apprentice, and you just this little thing. You're
Yeah.
this little human in the middle of the chaos.
Yeah, and
you feel small.
You're a growing little spirit that's just there to do art. And if you're constantly getting beaten down on your art,
a lot of time most of the time, even nowadays, probably 100%. How do you say? You criticize yourself a lot.
Always.
And then you get to this place and you're seeing all these people doing amazing art, insane, and then
there's never a day
they try to correct you, and then you're like,
art.
exactly, and you're like, oh, probably.
Even if I'm happy that I've done like I feel like it's been a really good piece, I will think about it before I go to sleep. Everything I could have done differently.
Oh, that's amazing.
All the time.
Yeah, retrospective.
I feel like if you don't think like that and you're not always self-criticizing,
yeah.
you're not doing good enough.
Yeah,
if you don't feel like you have room to grow, that's when you start falling behind.
Do you think that comes from like ego? Like an ego kind of thing?
If you feel like you're not doing good enough?
No, like some people I know artists, like another thing of this industry.
Around?
Yeah, in this industry.
If they think they're pretty good, so they don't do better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's very external.
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone pumping themselves up, or everyone else pumping them up.
Now, what I mean with I disagree in terms of what you were saying is like I agree, like yeah, sometimes putting yourself you are out there and getting some of people comments and tell you how to get better, that's definitely always helpful. But I disagree is more about someone doing the shit work for 9 months. It's like 9 months for me is a long time.
It's 8 months.
Or
8 months, and then like your 9th month is when you start.
Yeah, tattooing. Like you. I understand if you're doing it for a month.
I mean, I would have loved to do like 4 or 5 months. But
yeah.
I'm not saying that I agree with how long and the shit work that you have to do. But personally, I am grateful that for my own journey, I went through that.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's not going to be great for everybody.
Yeah, definitely not. And I think it's as well.
Yeah.
We're seeing people come into the studio and just expecting everything is going to be super easy. And it's not. And it's never going to be easy. Like, I feel like
systems like that were really built to break people.
Yeah, but why do we always have to break people?
And I feel like it's a very old school mentality in a way. Where if you can't get through this, what makes you think you can be a tattoo artist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I don't agree with it, because my kind of mentorship was more like, hey, this is not right. Do the cleaning setup for a month. Like, you don't need to keep doing it for every time, because it gets to a point that you just feel like a fucking slave.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like a free work.
My ex had coined Friday Night Madness for me, because I would literally have like a mental breakdown at least every week because of how exhausted I was from working really early mornings till late night. Sometimes I wouldn't get home until 12 or 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to go work the other 3 days elsewhere to make up for not getting paid at the apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And then on my fucking weekends, I'm drawing, trying to keep up with homework every week.
With the homework they give you. So now, in terms of that, would you agree that apprenticeship, because back in your apprenticeship again, you'd say you didn't get paid for it. Would you agree that it should be now paid, or it should be still not being paid?
I feel like it would bring a lot of different issues. And like, I'm not agreeing that the 9 months is great, but it does also weed out a lot of the people who are shit kickers, who just want to get paid and just do, and they don't strive to be better, and they do shit tattoos.
Yeah, I see that.
They usually don't last 3 months.
Yeah.
So, but the only thing about the longevity of that apprenticeship is if you really, really want it, you will sacrifice whatever to do it.
Yeah.
And I kept telling myself every Friday Night Madness, it'll come back tenfold later.
Yeah.
So even though I sacrificed 8 to 9 months of my life being a slave, it is coming back tenfold for me now.
Yeah, it's a reward.
So I don't hate it, but I didn't love it either.
Would you change it if now, like, you went through that, you experienced that, now there is a chance for you to have your own place? Would you change it, or would you still keep doing it the way you had it?
If it was my own studio, I wouldn't do it that way.
You wouldn't not pay someone?
I would do it differently per apprentice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it big enough. I wouldn't have it as big. It wouldn't be a franchise or anything.
Yeah, more personal.
It would be more personal. I would take on one apprentice and I would go at their pace.
Yeah.
Make sure that they have everything down pat before they touch any skin.
Yeah, but that's
however long it takes.
That's what I mean. Like, yes, you went through that, and it's definitely the old school to do it.
Yeah,
and it's even worse.
It's an old school mentality, and I understand. And it's
But that's what you have to change, because we're the new generation, Betty. New generation. Yeah, I think it's like as I say, I didn't have to go to that to become who I am. I think is very grateful to. I saw it in like working together, how they did it, some kind of apprenticeships in this specific shop, and then I found a lot of value in some processes they did, like the way they were very strict with the people bringing the tasks, the homework. You know, the way the apprenticeship, when you did it, like they would be like, well, Friday, you guys need to have a painting done. Like, I found that good. It's a good pressure. That for me, it's like, that's a little bit of the dick side of something, but that will make you stronger and harder. Like, you need that, because I didn't have that. Well, like, mine was more chill. Like, do lines and circles and choose a style.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, okay, next Friday we'll chill. Like, it was very relaxed.
That's what I mean by, like, they'll harden you. They're preparing you to get something done by Friday, because that's what it's like when you'll have a client. Like, if
100%,
you do not have that design ready, you are not tattooing them that day, and they're going to be really disappointed.
Yeah. And that's very good. And I was like, that's something I would love to ever apply. In my case, that was like this lack that I had.
Yeah. And it's what most people in school go through as well. That's why we all have deadlines.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like any workplace, you have deadlines.
So that's like something that I was like, cool, that's definitely would tough you out. Now,
as much as I hated school.
Now I definitely agree. Like, even though I never thought about it, what you just say. Maybe some people, you just start paying apprentices, they will just take the money. I never thought about that, but I could see it. It's not just
taking the money. It's like, it's just like any other job. And a lot of the people who expect to get paid, they don't realize how much sacrifices they actually have to sacrifice. Like, when you do your apprenticeship, you don't have as much of a social life, like barely anything. And you've got to still do homework, whether you get paid or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, you really weed out the ones that are just there for the money, because people know tattoo artists earn good money. And if they can get paid during an apprenticeship, then they'll go for gold.
Yeah. But now as well, like, people knowing now that tattoo artists make good money, it's like now a lot of new artists are just becoming tattoo artists because of the money. I know, because of the passion of art.
That's why
should be the root.
Scratches out there.
It should be, and that's why a lot of people is giving up, unfortunately, because of course, if it's not making you money, you're gonna leave it. It's the easy path, unfortunately. But sometimes, you just have to keep pushing and trying to do the best. Now, talking about that, and from your experience as a tattoo artist, what do you think it should be the main change for the new generation of tattoo artists that are coming, like as an apprenticeship? Or is something you already talked, like, if I have my own studio, I will probably have just one, so less amount, so you can focus on a person. One by one.
Have less people.
Give them some kind of reward or payment.
The thing, like, as an artist, I don't give a fuck about making money off other people. I'm there to do what I enjoy. I'm there to do what I want to do. I'm not going to take money out of other people's pockets. Yeah, that's probably the main thing I would do if I ever open my own place.
But as an apprentice, what would you change around that old school style that you can see now in studios? Like we talk about time, so I'll probably will try to short it up and be focused maybe the way I did it. No,
Yeah.
9 months of this.
I would only have like one apprentice.
Yeah.
If I had a studio, it would be small.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have more than one, so I could dedicate all my time to them while I'm working, and they can learn off the other people there.
Yeah.
I'd probably shorten the time as well, like not just lengthwise, but also during the day.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have them there too late.
Yeah. Definitely.
It really crushes the spirit when you don't get enough sleep and you've got all the shit you need to do.
Yeah. It's a hard work. Like you probably think like, oh, it's just someone apprentice.
Like this is coming from like you and I who have worked 7 days a week. Like we know what burnout and exhaustion is like.
Yeah. You don't want to get to the point, and I have found that myself now as a full-time tattoo artist. It's like, I don't want to get to the point that everything is mechanic and you lose your passion. That's probably the hardest part.
I'm at that point. And I'm a baby in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
I've been tattooing for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I already feel burnout.
Yeah. That's hard. That's hard to find that balance.
But yeah, that's one of the biggest things people don't realize, like getting an apprenticeship is you will be working not only your apprenticeship but another job because you're not getting paid. And you won't realize how much time in your time out of the studio and out of work that you're going to be putting into this. It takes hours to fucking draw and paint. I
know. That's what I'm saying. You tattoo studios out there, please pay your apprenticeship. Apprentice. Even though not even a full-time salary. Like what in my brain is like, you're making someone do all this job for you, even clean the toilets. You're saving money in cleaners.
But at least buy them lunch and a coffee every day.
I say even just give them like a kind of bonification. I don't know, something like that to start with.
And I find one of the biggest things also, like, I don't know how it is now, but when I was first starting, I noticed that there was never a lot of positive reinforcement. Like every now and then, like if you were close to someone in the studio and you're friends and you feel like you had a good like support network, they would always give you a lot of positive reinforcement that you're doing well and you're on the right track.
Motivation
But the people that are like kind of running the show, they don't give you enough positive
because
reinforcement.
they want to be tough with you. Because that's how they learn.
Tough on you, yeah.
That's how they learn.
That's how they all learn.
Yeah, I remember that. Like I remember someone saying like, you remind me that this guy, this tattoo artist, love him. Very tough, the way he communicate. Again, old school tattoo artist, tough. And I came to him and I was like, why? Why do you have to be tough? And he'll say, because that's how they learned. Like, that's the only way they're going to learn.
Everyone learns differently.
And he said, like, if you're too soft, they're going to take you serious. And I was like, no, I disagree with that. Like, just because you're pretending you're tough, because I know you're a teddy bear. Like, I know this for a fact. But you're just putting your tough face out there in kind of like, almost like a pride thing to say, maybe not coming from an ego side, but more a pride say, like, I'm your mentor and this is what you need to do. But at the end, it's probably not the best way to communicate. You think it is because you think that you're...
A lot of the old school artists think that that's the only way they'll get respect as well.
And it's not.
Yeah.
It's not because
we already look up to them. We already admire them.
Yeah, 100%. I'm like, I actually... You find it to a point that when you start talking with the other people behind the curtains, it's like the apprentice is following up what they're saying just because of fear, not because they have the admiration 100% because that's why you choose your mentor, because you admire their work and you respect their work. But sometimes you have to do things just for fear, not for because you say like, oh, maybe this is the right way or maybe this is the good way.
Fear of what?
Fear of them, the way they will say, like, no, you have to do that. Come back and clean it. You have to redo it. This is the way we do it. And they'll be like, okay, fuck, yeah, I'll do it. Otherwise, I'm going to have bad relationship with my mentor or this apprenticeship is going to finish, like, you know?
I know a few apprentices that we're just worried they'd lose their apprenticeship if they like fucked up too many times.
Exactly. No, and that happened. And I believe as well, like, sometimes, stuff as well, but you gotta put a line and say, like, well, I can't help you as much and explain you the process, but more than 5 times. Like, I already explained you 5 times.
Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of studios out there now, and I don't know if they're all run similarly, but like I've visited, I've gotten tattooed at like other places, and they're all very chill. And like a lot of the chill ones don't really actually like to take on apprenticeships because they're so chill. Like, they don't have the time or the effort to teach people, so it's really hard to get an apprenticeship out there. So that's why a lot of people end up at places that want to use them. Yeah. And I'm not necessarily talking about any studio in particular.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I've heard a lot of stories out there of people getting stuck in studios that'll use them and then don't even end up teaching them how to tattoo.
Yeah, which is very sad.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Which is why I felt so lucky actually having a program where we were in just
having a program, that's the right word. Having a program is the best you can do.
Yeah.
And as an apprentice, probably if you're out there want to do apprenticeship, find a place that, the chill places are good too, but find a place that you can have a proper program and organization. Now, the hardest place is to find the balance between someone that respects you to who you are and become, and then having this open door to this new industry, the chance to put your portfolio out there, to maybe you think you're drawing good, but like you should perfect your stuff. And for me, it's nothing more value than knowledge. And I always say that, and that's why I always gonna be grateful with my mentor, Camilo. Hi, because that person took the time to give me his knowledge. And tell me if I'm wrong or not, but in this industry, a lot of people hold the knowledge.
Yeah, that's been one of the biggest things.
It's insane.
That's why it's hard to get an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And I think now that the industry is like pretty flooded, a lot of places don't even want to take on apprentices.
Yeah.
So that only amplifies people not being able to get an apprenticeship because everyone wants to gatekeep their knowledge. I feel like it's a very, very old school mentality.
Again.
It's like back in the day, people wouldn't take on apprenticeships like very often. Like even like in the where they started tattooing in Japanese culture, they would only pass it on to their sons.
True, it's a family thing.
Yeah, like
when I went to Japan, they explained that to me.
It would never go to just some random unless like their family died and they had one aspiring student.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, it kind of got, obviously, with all the bikies in Australia, it wasn't very big as well. No one wanted to fucking work in a bikie joint.
No one wanted it. Yeah, that must be
and
insane.
No matter where you were, especially in like Sydney, like
yeah, you actually you tattoo in Sydney, have you?
Yeah, I did some guest spots in Sydney.
Guest spot, how was that?
It's not as prevalent anymore. I feel like there's definitely certain areas that you should be careful of, but
I don't feel like I agree with you. Like I feel like I never experienced that again, but never knew about the bikie whole atmosphere.
I have never experienced it in Melbourne. I'll tell you that.
No, me neither. But I think it's gradually changing. It feels like, but yeah, like talking about Sydney when you went, when I'm asking about that, you had a license, did you?
Yeah.
How did you get the license, and is it actually work or is it just a piece of paper?
Is
like
what?
For the license, like is it a value thing? Like how do you apply for it? Is it something you
apply
require?
for it, you pay for it, you keep it.
Is it for at least not expire anything?
So you can have it, I think the time frame was a year to 5 years, depending on how much you paid.
Okay.
I just paid, I think it was like $8.50 for 5 years. And all you have to do is send off all of your photo identification that had been signed and verified by a police officer.
Okay.
And then you fax that off to New South Wales in Sydney.
So is it more a way for New South Wales to have record of tattoo artists? Or
If you have a criminal record, you probably won't get that tattoo license.
yeah, but what I mean is like that's a way from New South Wales to keep record.
Yeah.
Because
It's
like,
just so they know, like if
yeah,
you're
exactly
coming
who's
to
coming in to
Sydney
tattoo
and you're tattooing, making sure that you're not a part of some organisation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when I actually got it, I went to Sydney during my guest spot. They needed to get my fingerprints as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Take my blood, take everything.
Had to go into the police station, get all
Yeah.
inked up, and then, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I've never done that. Just I think Victoria is the only one that doesn't have it, is it?
Well, now they have my fingerprints.
Careful. Tonia ended up with something dodgy out there. In terms of like we mentioned about mentorships. As an apprentice, do you always, like when you got into it, did you always dream with like I want that person to be a mentor, or you just work it out with what you have around the studio you were in back in the days?
I didn't understand the word you just said. All I heard was mentor and apprenticeship. Say that again, but a bit slower.
So back in that time when you had the mentor, did you always looked up like beforehand, I want this person to be my mentor? Do you ever had
Before
someone?
I even got the apprenticeship, is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
Like, you know, when you have this inspirational kind of tattoo artist you always wanted to be
Yeah,
with.
like people you follow on Instagram
Exactly. Like,
and stuff.
but of course possible. It's not like you fucking in Australia watching in
Yes and
somewhere
no.
in Germany.
I feel like I did it very impulsively. So I
Yeah.
didn't really, like, the ad came up first for me.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
it did work in that
I
way.
was following a few random people from Addicted to Ink and other studios, but not everybody.
Yeah.
And then when I applied,
Yeah.
then they all started coming up, and then, yeah, there's so many of them. So
True. So you didn't have like, oh, this is the person I always wanted to be mentor, or
No.
you just learn from whoever's gonna give
I just
you.
wanted to get into a studio because it's hard.
Yeah. Do you want to be involved in it at first?
More
Get the
what?
taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus because I had no idea what the hell it was going to be like. So
Yeah. What would you like now that you're done with your apprenticeship? What would be an advice that you'll give anyone out there that want to be an apprentice nowadays, knowing how it was and how maybe it's changing?
depends where they go.
Find the right place, probably. First.
Do your fucking research.
Okay.
Make sure you ask the right questions. Obviously ask if you're going to get paid or not, because there's some people who show up thinking they're going to get paid
Yeah.
and then
They laugh.
waste a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of different advice I could give people, but
Would you say like create your portfolio, like put it out there?
well, yeah, if you want to get into it, definitely create your portfolio. You're not going to get anywhere without it. Show a variety of styles that you're interested in doing, and any of the basics, like
Yeah.
American traditional to realism, like anywhere
Yeah.
along that spectrum.
Or be open-minded to learn
Open-minded
everything.
about styles, yeah, because when you're an apprentice, like you will start tattooing anything at first just to get that experience up. But yeah, definitely do your research before you go
You go anywhere.
locking yourself
100%.
in anywhere.
I think nowadays as well is everything moves through social media. I guess would be as an advice, personal advice would be like
Yeah.
maybe start to establish your own Instagram account.
Yeah.
Make a nice
Create your online portfolio.
online portfolio. This probably sounds very old school, but if you sometimes need to walk into the shop,
You have to.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah exactly.
And the thing is, a lot of studios actually really appreciate that.
Yeah, because you put a face
Yeah.
behind that
A
account.
lot of people will advertise and say email your portfolio, but it's do that as well, but also walk into the studio, introduce yourself,
Yeah.
shake hands with the owners, get to know the artists.
Yeah. Don't be afraid of talk to people.
A lot of us are very intimidating, but like we were once in your
We're
shoes.
nice.
Like
Yeah.
we knew what it was like.
And I feel like the people, the tattoo artists that they're fucking full tattoo,
Yeah.
face, neck, they're the most beautiful people
Nah,
out
they're
there.
the biggest teddy bears.
Teddy bears, yeah.
If you're ever in
They
trouble,
weren't tough, they're now
ever
they're
in
pussies.
trouble on the street,
Yeah.
you grab someone's arm like that and they'll help you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of ask questions, even if you think they're dumb. Nice people out there will be think that you're learning, and you deserve to ask a lot of questions.
I think another big thing that I would want to tell them is like, be prepared not to have a social life for a bit.
Tough one.
And you're going to sacrifice a lot of your bank account if you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
So have some savings or a really good side hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people will try and talk you out of it too. A lot of family, a lot of friends.
That's
so
true.
You have to be very determined that
How's
this
your
is
experience
actually
with
what
that?
you want. Family and friends.
Yeah.
They all wanted me to.
They're all like wanting you.
My mum was a bit skeptical. She didn't like tattoos until I got my first one. She was like, you have to be a clean skin forever.
Fucking neck tattoos now.
Yeah.
Face tattoos.
Came home with a tattoo one day and she was like, oh my God. And then she was like, you know what, I actually quite like that. Now she wants tattoos too.
Yeah. Same. I tattoo my dad.
Yeah.
As well.
I've talked to a lot of people and there's a lot of people out there who their family aren't supportive, especially when they hear about how hard the apprenticeship is.
Yeah.
Everything's up to you though.
That's true.
If you really want it, you'll
if it's something
do it.
you really want in your life, you'll try your best and the hardest. And sometimes you have to suck it up. And
even if you want to
keep
try
going.
it and you find out that it's not for you, then
At least you tried.
at least you tried. Yeah.
What would be like the do's and don'ts on
What?
the do's? What would you do?
Oh, the do's and don'ts.
And don'ts. Fuck.
The deuce and the donuts.
The donut. Oh, is it that bad? I'm actually gonna put little.
You can't put subtitles on our podcast. What was the question? Do's and don'ts. Of what?
For apprentices.
Like once they get an apprenticeship,
Yeah.
don't be an asshole.
Basic.
Yeah, don't be an asshole. That's anywhere. Don't have an attitude because you're there to learn.
Big one.
Yep. Biggest
You gotta
one.
put your
You
head
get
down,
a lot of
babe.
attitudes in this industry.
Yeah.
Don't have an ego.
Yeah.
You're literally just there to learn and
Be very passive.
yeah.
Passive. Very how this is
You want to
very
make
negative.
friends and you want to be friendly and like you can just be yourself. Just don't be an asshole.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think be grateful.
Grateful because you're getting free education.
Be grateful.
Yeah.
Now, have you heard about the tattoo schools?
Oh, fuck off. I don't want to talk about them.
This is another episode. Next one. Stay tuned. No, we're not talking about that. Not yet. Now, what would be the do's? Like, as an apprentice, you should push hard, like stay
You
strong.
want to, one of the biggest things is initiative, I reckon.
Yeah, but isn't that like in everything in life?
It is, but a lot of people fucking lack it, believe it or not. A lot of people are there to, like, the amount of apprentices that would come through and wait to be told what to do.
Yeah. It's hard.
Instead of seeing a mess or anything and just not doing it or like asking if it would be okay if like, oh, I made this process a bit easier.
Yeah.
And
True.
yeah.
Be self-aware of what's happening and like just locate things easy. And I think that comes as well from hospitality.
It's common sense.
Common sense is the less common
And I
sense.
think
How do you
because
say the less common?
because we have come from hospitality and stuff like that.
Do you think it's that?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I think it's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And it depends if you have worked previously because like there's a lot of young people who come through who haven't even had their first job yet.
I've seen a lot of apprentices that they're like fucking 17.
People who
18.
don't even know how to work their own washing machine because their mum do it.
Exactly. Like how would you deal with kids? Like I've seen kids doing that, which good for them because I love that. Like they want to do this forever.
Some people don't even clean their room still. They just their parents do it. So then they come in and they try and clean after like 20 artists and they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Initiative is massive. That's probably the biggest one.
Biggest thing is probably initiative.
Yeah.
Another deuce.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot to touch on, but I don't know if it's just very specific for like my experience.
Yeah, you can say it from your side.
I mean, customer service is such a big umbrella. It's very different in the tattoo industry.
The
Like,
approach is so different too.
I feel like as a personal like human being and like being able to connect with complete strangers every single day, it's hard.
Yeah,
and
it is.
it's taxing.
Yeah.
I am masking every day and then I go home and I'm exhausted.
Fuck, the emotional drain. I never thought that would be so much in this
I mean,
job.
don't get me wrong, like there's always like you can always find at least one thing to connect with each client with.
Yeah. And have you found like when you had a good client and you create this beautiful
I have
relationship?
heaps of friends that I've like gotten from clients.
You even start to hang out with them outside.
I do, yeah.
I know, we went to dinner with one of your clients.
Which one?
You got heaps. And then one of them was in like the Halloween party and he was like, hey, Antonia's client. I was like, oh,
yeah. No,
That's
I've made
beautiful.
lots
I
of
love that.
girlfriends. I made lots of guy friends,
I
and they
love
all
that.
get along with my partner as well.
Yeah,
they come
just
to all
become part of
the group
little
events. Yeah,
of your little social life.
yeah. But even with like sometimes you'll just get a really fucking difficult person that doesn't want to give you anything, and it's like trying to draw blood out of a rock.
Yeah.
But
100%.
those are gonna be the hard days. You're really gonna test your hospitality skills.
Yeah. And even if you don't have it, guys, like if you don't have hospitality skills, at least just start to just
could ask
communication,
questions.
your customer communication, just communicating to the tattoo artist.
Yeah.
Just get out there
Like
and
start
talk to
from
them.
the basics. Like like how long did it take you to get here? Where'd you come from?
Yeah, 100%.
What do you do for work? And then you just start going off there, and each tiny thing, ask them a new question. If they don't ask you questions back, then you know that they just want you to shut up.
Oh, yeah. I feel so bad when that happened.
Yeah. It's usually sometimes like the only times I've found it really difficult is if I have a really, really shy 18-year-old getting their first tattoo and they're just sitting there shitting themselves because they're scared.
Yeah.
But most of the time they warm up. And I won't put needle to skin until he's like properly settled down.
That's true.
And they're lying down, they're not just sitting up. Otherwise
That's
they'll
true.
faint.
Talking about the customer service side, how was your first tattoo experience after being an apprentice? Your first tattoo?
After being an apprentice?
Yeah. What was your first tattoo experience? Like tattooing someone?
It was a little bit illegal,
After
to be
you-
honest.
Illegal?
Well, it was actually during COVID on my housemate,
Same.
but it was in the studio.
Okay.
So, yeah, very illegal. It was actually
Ooh.
quite good because it was COVID, the studio was nice and quiet. Mm-hmm. There was 2 mentors with us, and then me, my housemate, and the other apprentice that started at the same time as I did was also doing one. So there was a mentor for us each.
Okay.
So we're being watched over the whole time.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Having someone there to hold them.
And then we did that like 3 days in a row. So you got like a bunch of little ones.
What was the first tattoo?
The first one was like a strawberry with sharp teeth and a tongue coming out.
Okay.
It was like a little realism stipple strawberry.
Oh, it was a stiplet.
Yeah.
It wasn't
and he
just
had like
outline.
a long curly tongue.
That's cute.
Yeah. And then we did a little Spyro one.
Okay. It's ever been black and grey? Never been color?
It's always kind of been black and red and grey, but
Yeah.
yeah, colours. I did a little bit of red that week to try it out.
Cute. What was my first experience was illegal too. Was just right between COVID on and on, fucking shutting down for 5 months and opening again for half a week.
I was sick of waiting.
So,
After
yeah, same.
waiting 9 months to start my 9-month, was it 6 months or 9 months?
Almost 9 months. I
Yeah,
think.
it was almost 9 months to start my 9th month
Yeah.
apprenticeship. So I was like, I ain't fucking waiting any longer.
Yeah. Same. So that happened, and then I just did a little. It was a friend as well. Like love friends. They're always
I mean,
there for
is it
first
really
tattoos.
illegal if it was on my housemate? Like I lived with them.
Was it like properly all biosecurity and everything?
We're
fine?
in our own studio. Like it may as well have been in our own apartment. I mean, our mentors
we
weren't
got
from the
lawyers
same
after
household,
this.
but you know.
No, I think it should be fine. But yeah, it was an experience, definitely. what was your words? Run me through just to finish this episode. The worst tattoo experience you ever had with a customer.
Oh, there's a couple.
You get a couple of freaks, babe.
Oh, I got a couple of freaks.
Why do you always have the stalkers?
I don't know.
I want to ask you that.
I'm genuinely scared to talk about it because I don't want him to like hear this and then stalk
Do you think
me
there will
again.
be?
I don't know.
Maybe it will be super big.
Probably. It's not that hard to make a fake account.
Yeah, but if they will, they have done it already because you have a public Instagram anyway.
Long story.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a long one. It's kind of like airing out his dirty laundry as well.
Well, what?
He dumped his whole life story on me. The first red flag was he sent me an email with his
Design.
reference pictures, but also like he had a title for each piece. So like inner forearm, outer forearm.
Oh, it's these
upper
clients that
arm,
have the whole set
inner,
up.
inner bicep. So you had like a subject for each piece. It was going to be dark realism, which I was like, fuck yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And like the email was great. It's very like informative, but too informative. There was a story under each subheading as to why he wanted that. And like one of the biggest red flags was he wanted a succubus for his inner forearm or outer forearm. And a succubus is like a demon girl that sucks the souls out of men. And the subheading read, it was pretty much his experience with his ex. Told me the whole story.
This is all into the email.
This was just in the email before I had even tattooed him. So I was like, oh, fuck, he's going to be one of those guys. But like he'd booked 4 sessions.
Of
So I
course,
was like,
it's a big work.
It's money. It's going to be cool art. I'll just put my head down. Yeah. And then he... Oh, and even before the email, he came in for a consult and you didn't really need to because you'd got everything in the email anyway, but he came in for a consult.
5 pages email and a consult. I love that.
He came in, he was very ecstatic, seemed normal, just seemed like really enthusiastic and excited. Didn't seem weird at all.
Okay.
I thought he was just, just an eccentric guy.
Well, you never know.
And then he gave me some lollipops, and then the first red flag after that was he wanted to take a picture with me.
Why?
I don't know.
This is a consultation?
Like, I'm not some celebrity in LA. You don't need to take pictures with me.
Wait, this is the consultation?
He asked the desk girl to take a picture of him and I. And I'm just
fuck?
standing there awkwardly holding the lollipops.
This is like your license picture?
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Take it.
And this is like a 40-year-old man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 40-year-old man.
And you allowed him to take your picture of you?
I had my clothes on.
I know, but still.
I'm holding lollipops. I'm in a studio. There's people around. It's okay. I was like, okay, maybe he's just like kind of special. Like, I don't want to hurt his feelings, you know.
Oh, God bless you.
Anyway, that was fine. He uploaded it to his Instagram. Yeah, he uploaded it to his Instagram.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Anyway, first appointment, he came in. He was, I don't know if I should describe him.
You don't have to.
Yeah, I wouldn't describe him. He was a wanker. He came in with like fucking like swagger that he should not have had. Okay. Late. He was like an hour late.
Okay.
Complained.
Don't be late for your appointments. Nothing more annoying than that.
Gave me a lot of excuses that didn't matter. He had one of those vapes that would just like smoke out the whole joint. You know, those really big ones that just like are deliberately smoky.
Yeah, that they were like a fucking
everyone was getting pissed off about
car.
it. They had to tell him to stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the first instance he was in, like he would not shut up. And he was just talking about his entire life and trauma dumping his entire life on me.
Which is normal. Like when you connect with a client.
Not the first fucking minute he gets in, you know. Like
not that quick.
I haven't even had a proper conversation with him yet. Haven't even shaved his arm, haven't even put the stencil on. He's just like,
wow. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was everyone put their headphones in within 1 hour. Everyone downstairs. It was just me and this guy and just listen to him yap. But like the shit that he'd be talking about was not not enough for me to kick him out, but enough to make me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He didn't ever say anything outrightly
But I know
wrong.
you, and like you will not kick someone out. You're very sweet.
I'm very nice.
You try your best too.
I will give you an opportunity to do better.
Yeah.
But like there was nothing like overtly stepping over a line.
Mm-hmm.
But there was like one moment where like he was complaining about his psychiatrist. So apparently he was wrongly medicated for however long, like years apparently.
Yeah.
And he said that his psychiatrist left him a voicemail and he's pissed off about it. And he was just venting to me about, he was venting to me about his brother, his sister, his mom. Everyone in his family told me all their life stories too. And then, he showed me the voicemail, made me listen to it. And it literally said, listen, insert name here, you are having a manic episode and you need to check yourself into hospital.
Oh, wow.
So apparently he was wrongly medicated for bipolar his whole life, but I don't think so. I think he'd just gotten off his meds, impulsively done a bunch of things that he'd like narcissistically bragged to me about, and booked a tattoo for 4 days, and he was in 2 days in a row. And by lunchtime, I was just like ready to drop dead.
Yeah.
And he followed us into the kitchen and like was showing me all these videos all day. Like,
yeah, it's just very.
On the third day,
hard.
I think it was, he wrote a whole 3-page new resume because you wanted to apply to a new job.
Mm-hmm.
He read everything to me. He read the whole.
Oh my God.
3 fucking pages.
I love you. You're so patient.
4 days. So I had 2 days in a row, and then I think a 2-week break, and then 2 days in a row again.
Yeah, I do remember that when he was about to come in, you mentioned it, and then we all have our headphones ready for that day, that appointment.
Yeah, and towards like the last 2 sessions, he was being a bit more creepy. Like he tried asking me to come out for a drink on the last session.
Oh no.
I was like, nah, I'm too tired, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
And he was bragging about speed dating 25-year-olds and stuff. So I was like, all right, you're starting to get extra creepy.
Yeah.
He even made a very slow motion video of him buying his Tesla.
He made a slow motion video.
He made a slow motion video of him getting the keys, walking up to the car.
This is real?
This is real.
Like, he just created, Photoshop his face and so on.
He even brought in the Bluetooth speaker to connect so I could hear it better because the shop's loud apparently.
Oh my God.
He took me into that separate room where we take photos just so I could hear it. I'm like, he's like, oh, do you reckon I could do anything better about it? And I'm like, yeah, you could maybe speed it up.
Because fuck, this is 1 minute, it's taking 5. No.
And like a couple of the boys came past and peeked their head in to make sure he wasn't doing anything weird.
Used yourself in that little room.
Yeah. By this point, everyone was aware that there was something wrong with him, and he was giving the receptionist a hard time as well, about other things, and just generally made everyone uncomfortable and pissed off. So I did the 4 sessions at least that he'd already booked in for, but there was still a gap on the back of the arm that we needed to finish. And I was like, don't just blacklist him. Don't fucking book him in again.
Yeah.
I have never been more drained in my entire life.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot to deal with. Unfortunately, sometimes people have, and we're there to listen to them. And sometimes I throw things to people.
Don't get me wrong, like I love listening to people. Like I'm good at that. Yeah. But he took advantage of that, you know? I barely had to speak.
Yeah.
All I'd be like is like, oh yeah, oh wow, okay. That's me the entire 4 fucking days. I didn't even say anything. He was just yapping away, telling me like a few outrageous things and then another few problematic things and asking my opinion, and me scared of this 40-year-old man that's like possibly in a manic episode. If I don't agree with him, he's going to fucking kill me.
Yeah,
you know?
Of course. Yeah, it's not good.
Or get angry and cause a scene at least.
So he never booked again.
Well, we didn't let him.
Yeah.
I think
on
the lady called him up and was like, yeah, no, Tonia doesn't want to
She's in
tattoo you
another
again.
country,
And
sorry.
it was really weird because he just accepted it and he was like, oh, yeah, no, I understand. It's like he knew he was doing something
Oh,
wrong.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
good.
lady who spoke to him on the phone was like, yeah, no, he did not react.
Look, at least-
I expected him to.
At least he didn't push it. That's a good
Yeah.
thing. You don't want that following you up still.
Mm.
Or anything.
And now every time I see a Tesla, I'm just traumatized.
The Tesla creepy guys.
Yeah.
Oh, babe, thank you so much
That's all right.
to be
Thank
with
you
me
for having me.
this first episode. I love to have you. I love having chats with you. You're an amazing artist and I hope you're the best. And thanks for sharing all your experiences
Thank you.
as an ex-apprentice and now full tattoo artist.
Mm-mm.
If you want to say
girly.
your social medias, feel free to do it. If you're going to share your social medias out there, go check her work. It's amazing.
It's Tats by Tonia.
How is it?
Tatts by
How-
Tonia.
Say it again.
Tats by Tonia.
That's by Tonia.
Tonia with an I.
Yeah, we'll put it in here so you can have a look. Last but not how do you guys say? Last but not least.
Last but not least.
Yeah. I got this mascot.
Mask?
Mascot?
Oh, mascot. Yeah.
Which we haven't named him. We need to put a name. Oh, her.
Is it a her?
Oh, hey, oh, them.
It's yellow. It's very ambiguous.
Yeah, true. No gender. It's 2024, babes. No gender. So, I want you to have a little sign or message for
Can I
me.
write anything on it?
Anything. No dick
Okay.
painting or anything.
So
or
vagina's
potatoes.
okay.
But yeah, if you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Cute. Yeah. Just your Instagram.
Yeah.
Why not? Is it a heart? Is it a dick?
It's not. It's a weird finger.
It's the middle finger. Cute. Well, thank you. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for having me.